Imagine being at a company for the last 20, 30 years. And a couple of weeks ago, you got the news that you were getting a new supervisor. She was young and up and coming, but she was new to supervision. How would you feel? Let's talk about it. I'm Adrian from Adrian's Avenue, and I discuss topics that are rich, relatable, and relevant that you can use every day as a leader. Let's jump right into it. Now, it is very rare for you to have folks only in one age group on the team. Normally, you will have people from their 20s until maybe their mid 60s, maybe even 70s on the team. And so you as a supervisor have to relate to each age group and make sure that for the older employees on the team, that you're not minimizing their value that they bring to the team. They bring a history, a rich history. Some of them have been there to open up that office, perhaps. Some of them have been there since the company started running in that city or that department. And so they bring a rich history with them. And this is something that you can use their knowledge and their understanding of how things function on the team and in the company that will help you as a new leader. So make sure we're taking care of everybody on the team, from the newest, youngest members of the team to the elderly or the oldest members of the team. Now, there are a few ways that you can build relationships with the older members of the team. One thing that you don't want to do coming in as a new leader is try to dominate them. They've been there at their job and they know their job like the back of their hand and better than you know their job. And so it's best to let them do their job, not coming in as a dominant force, but work with them and build that relationship with them. Just do not dominate the older members of the team. Another thing that you want to do is be inclusive of the older members of the team. So often we come in as a new supervisor and we jump on the stars and we promote them and we do things with them. But the older members of the team have value, and you can work with that value. I can remember when I was a new supervisor, there was a guy on the team that had been in that position for a while, and he knew exactly how to talk to the salespeople of our company. And when I'm making presentations or I may have a question about a certain area that is presented to me that I don't quite know the answer, he would step in and help me out. So working with these older members of the team, and he had a way with the salespeople that he could handle them in such a way that I really didn't have to step in and do very much when it came to them. So he brought tremendous value to me and the team just by performing the job that he was performing. So let's make sure we find that value in the older members of the team and rely on that, depend on that value, and be inclusive of them with the functions that's going on with the team and you as a supervisor. Another thing we can do and learn from the older members of the team or the older employees is that they have years and years of experience that we don't have. And so we can learn from the things, the mistakes that they've made perhaps, or the good things that's happened, and they have stories behind these. And so it's really interesting to listen to them explain the stories and the history behind what they've been through. But we can learn from their experience where we don't have to make those same errors. So make sure we're relying on them and dependent on them and listening to the stories that they tell, listening to their reasoning behind things. It can be very, very helpful for not only you, but the other team members. And more than likely, the other team members on the team have tapped into their knowledge, tapped into their experience, and know this about them already. So make sure you as a leader coming to the new team, make sure that you recognize that there is rich experience in these older employees, and let's tap into that and use that as a resource as much as we possibly can. Sometimes the older employees of the team have a bigger learning curve when it comes to technology. They may put some limitations on themselves, but make sure we're being patient with them as team managers, as supervisors, as leaders, and helping them along because they can eventually learn the system, learn the new things that are coming into the company. But they may need a little patience. They may need a little more time to get up on the technologies, but you're there for them. That's what we're here for. And there may be some of the younger members of the team that are willing to help them out in that respect. But let's have patience when it comes to things like that. You know, someone had to have patience with us as a new leader, as a new supervisor coming into the team, even as a new employee. We didn't know everything when we came into the company. Someone had to teach us, someone had to have patience with us. And so let's make sure we're having a little patience with the older members of the team. There are a few more things that we're going to go over, but I don't want you to be too young or too old not to hit that like button or the subscribe button so you can be kept up to date on the newest information as it becomes available to you. As we talk about how to lead the older employees, there are a few things that we can actually learn from them. And one thing in particular that we can learn, especially since they've been there for a while, is loyalty. So often we come into companies sometimes and there is no loyalty to the company, but these folks have loyalty to that company. If you've been at any company for 20, 25, 30 years, you're loyal to that company. You know, this has become probably a part of your life, your lifestyle. They have a social life there at the company. They have friends. It's a very comfortable place for them to go. And so we need to make sure we pay attention to this and realize and recognize that they are attached to that company as an employee for 25, 30, 35, maybe 40 years at the same company. So we can learn a bit of loyalty because there is something that kept them there. And so they can teach us and help us, because I don't know of anyone who would stay at a company that's not a great company. They would normally, even with the pay, if the pay is good, they'll normally find a way to leave that company if it's not. So for some reason, these employees that's been there for that long know something about the company, like something about the company, and believe in the company. And they want to make sure this company is entrusted into good hands when they retire or leave the company. So one thing that we can learn from these older employees is loyalty. And so let's make sure we pick up on that. If we pay close attention, there are other things that we can learn from the older employees that's been with the company for a while. I can remember a long time ago when I first started with my company that I was told to put money into the 401k plan. Now, my history, my parents didn't even know what a 401k plan was. And so this was new to me, but I took his advice. He said, I know you're fresh out of college and you want to go buy cars and houses and clothes and that type of thing, but just take as much as you can and put in the 401k plan. And it will, in the future, when you get ready, close to retirement or getting ready to retire, it will help you with your retirement. And I took his suggestion and did just that. And boy, am I happy, excited, and glad that I did that. So I have been putting money in the 401k plan and contributing, and he was just a great help. But I'm sure, you know, he saw me as a young employee, probably didn't know this, and he knew how it had affected his life because he was older now and he had, you know, money built up in the 401k plan. And so he wanted to pass that information on to me. And I'm ever so grateful that he did, because without him suggesting it to me, even though other people may have suggested it, I listened to him and did exactly what he told me to do. I did buy a few clothes and I did buy a car, but I put money into my 401k plan because of the wisdom and knowledge that this man had told me. And so just pay attention to those things, because the older employees can help you not make the mistakes that maybe they have made and just gain in your future life. Well, that's it. But before I go, I would be remiss if I would not just speak about the younger employees and how they can help the older employees. One area that we know that they can help the older employees is in the area of technology. The younger employees seem to pick up on the technology really, really quickly, and they can actually help the older employees, you know, change over to the newer systems and the newer technology that's coming rapidly down the line. It's hard for all of us at times to keep up with how fast technology is changing, but that's something that the newer employees can even help the older employees with. Another thing is being adaptive. These younger employees that come into the company, they can adapt to change fairly quickly. They're not, you know, set in one way and not change in that way, but they can adapt to change, and sometimes they can help the older employees adapt to this change. Another area is the dreams. These young employees come into the company with dreams and hopes. And this is an area that sometimes the older employees may have given up on, but they can relate back to the younger employees and see that their hopes and dreams, and they can maybe perk some of their hopes and dreams, even if it's something into near retirement. They can see the light and joy in the younger employees' eyes, and they can kind of refurbish their hopes and dreams that they had in life also. And so these are some areas that the younger employees can actually, influence the older employees on. And so it's a team working together, the younger and the older helping each other. And this will give the older employees the hope that the company is going to be okay. It's going to be in good hands after they leave. And so this is a great area that both the younger and older employees can work together and make the company stronger, make the team stronger. Make sure we are valuing the value that they add to the team, not underestimating them, and not forgetting about our older employees.